Well, hi, everybody. So I can't seem to figure out how to get my video on, so it's just showing blank. And if I can figure out how to get it working, it's the same computer I always use. If I can figure out how to get it working, I'll turn it on. Let me try that. Oh, there we go. How do you like that? That was better. And we seem to have a lot of people on, but not the ZRC, which is interesting. So hoping that we get some ZRC members. I'm going to mute for a moment.
Who is the ZRC?
The ZRC is the Zoning Revision Committee. And this is a Zoning Revision Committee meeting. And our topic today, as it has been, is going through a revised STR law. But we do need a quorum. We have a work session with everybody who's on. And we always do publicly heard at the end. But I do need to go on mute and verify who's going to be here.
Is this a policy making session?
Well, the Zoning Revision Committee is an advisory committee. We don't make policy, but we advise on policy. So we're drafting an updated STR law to propose to the town board. I am a member of the town board, but I am also on this committee. And so we do not make policy. We don't vote anything into law in this committee. The town board votes things into law.
Okay, so the proposal that Anula made the other night is not on the table and is not official?
You're talking two different things. The proposal the proposal that Anula made at the town board meeting last Tuesday was voted on by the town board. It is official. It is official because it was voted on by the town board. But what I'm saying is that was what we're doing here is we're talking about the law itself to propose to the town board. So the town board is the one that votes on things. And so, yes, the town board did approve Anula's recommendation.
So that's official policy, the $50 down and the $50 per month after?
That was made official by the town board on Tuesday. So I'm not memorizing exactly what it was. I thought the way she had it was that you would pay in the first quarter whatever you would have paid according to the old way of doing things, which I think was $50 plus there was a room charge. So so you would need to talk to the building department to confirm what your bill is for the first quarter, because everybody's got a different number of bedrooms in their STR. So your number, you would have to confirm with the building department. But the phased approach to say paid over the 4 quarters, that was made official by the town board.
Will that be promulgated in print or email?
It will be in the minutes. So so I don't know what the plan is from the supervisor to email that. Will it go out through? So I don't know what the communication plan is. I do know that we approved it. I don't know the communication plan, but I do believe
You do know that's a concern of this group, that communications have not been great.
Well, I do. there you go. Yeah.
That's all.
So okay. Yeah, it's true. And the reason why, I mean, the town board sets fees in January, and I certainly was in full support of Anula's idea, because blindsiding people was, it was not good for the people. So they needed to, people were blindsided, and so the town board took an action. So anyway, as I said, I'm going to go on mute and contact other committee members and just confirm what their plans are. I'm going on mute.
I'm in, Laura, if you're on the line.
Yep, I'm here and I'm back. So Jude did text that she will not make it. And Ed, I had left him a voicemail earlier and he just sent an email. So I emailed him back, and sometimes he's quicker to see emails. So we'll hang out for a bit and see, because if we don't have Ed or Jude, then we don't have a quorum really. And it really makes sense to have at least three of us talking through the document. But that being said, and unless this might be a good time to do public be heard. I know you haven't heard anything because we didn't have the meeting yet, but this might be a good time to see if anybody who has joined us does want to say a few words. So why don't we start with public be heard? And then if we don't have Ed, that may be all we do tonight. And if we do have Ed, then we can go through the document. So anyway, does anybody that's on, I know Michelangelo, you were talking about Anula's resolution on Tuesday that did get passed. Does anybody have anything that they do want to be talking about on this in the public be heard part?
Yes, I actually, well, maybe questions
Okay,
after our
go ahead.
town board meeting.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, it's just there because I was unaware. I don't have an STR, but there were some really compelling statements and arguments. And I really felt for the people who do rent, people who do rent out their spaces and live on fixed incomes and such. Our elders who are just trying to live here in our community and stick around, so you can see me. So what my questions were, sorry, long day. I am concerned. I think I'm just not even sure it's legal. It, I guess, is if this decision has been made, but this really is a brand new board technically, right? Except for you, Laura. So if this board voted, like our town board voted on this decision to increase this fee, like it used to be $50, now some people have like 1,000 or something percent, people are saying, fee, like there's no notification. I can't imagine myself living on a fixed income. I just can't imagine squeezing another dollar out and eating less, or like if their bookings cancel, I know that stuff happens all the time. And I live in between, like where there might be a boutique motel and where someone was supposed to move in with a family, children bound for Woodstock Elementary, which might be closed, but was just another house flipped by someone who's a very well-known investor here in our town, which will probably just be another STR, let's face it. So with what's trying to be pushed through. So if you are on this committee here, but you're also on the board and part of a 3-2 vote, as most things get pushed through, like I'm just perplexed. I just don't know, like, if that's okay. So I don't know if it's a question statement. It's just upsetting to me to see my neighbors who I didn't even know until that meeting. They didn't even know about this committee really, because people only go to big town board meetings.
I have a question.
So
What does the town plan to do with the $150,000 that these fees will raise?
Yeah, this is not a town board meeting. This is a zoning revision committee meeting. That's a question for Supervisor McKenna.
Well, he declines
And
to answer. He says it's going to go into general tax receipts, which,
Well,
to Sarah's point, okay, is going to unfairly discriminate against older folks who can't afford this to subsidize other general non-STR owners who are perfectly well off, and a lot of whom have second, very, nice second homes.
well, he did talk at the town board meeting about we do want to hire more of Granicus. Granicus is a company that provides services to towns that have STRs in terms of being able to better track. They have a better grasp and a better tracking over all the many websites people can use to be renting out their STRs. And so Granicus is a company that can help us understand better what's out there, because they will check all these 70 or so websites as opposed to somebody in the town needing to do it. So paying more for Granicus is something that we're expecting we may need to do. So even though I believe I'm quoting him right when he did say it goes into the general fund, but I do believe it's going to be, there will be consideration to doing things that actually help the STR situation.
Granicus, and I know a little bit about Granicus. The Granicus fee, and I believe they've quoted the town a little bit more than $14,000 for the STR portion of this, which amounts to less than $50 per STR. It's a far cry from 500 to 1,000. I only think it's proper to hide behind that.
Well, I think that when Sarah mentioned 1,000, she was talking about 1,000% increase. I don't know anybody who's getting $1,000 bill.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, 14,000 divided by 300 is less than $50.
Okay. Well, this is not the meeting to argue that, because this is a zoning revision committee meeting and we're talking about the proposed law. So, okay. So in any event, and I'm watching my clock and my clock says it's already 1:15. So we don't have.
But wasn't that imposed by this committee? Wasn't that fee, wasn't that decision made by this committee and then pushed forward to the town board to vote upon?
It was not.
Like, this
No.
is your committee and that's the board? No?
It was not. This
Oh, it's
committee.
the HOTF.
Well,
No?
okay.
Who made up that fee?
Housing Oversight Task Force is a totally different committee, and that committee has been disbanded.
Yeah, that was wrong. Sorry.
Their work is done. This is the zoning revision committee, and we are focused on updating the laws. If you go on the Woodstock website and if you look on the left-hand column, you can see the menu. In the menu, there's laws in the menu, and then one of the menu items says laws E-code. So if you go to laws, you can get there, but the laws E-code takes you more directly, and sometimes going to laws, sometimes there's a technical breakdown. If you do laws E-code, you usually get right to the law. And so we're talking about the STR law. It's in the zoning and it's 56, 260-56. So what we're talking about in this meeting is we're talking about the STR law, which is 260-56. And we're talking about how we can make that law better for Woodstock. That's what the zoning revision committee does. Is any law that is in chapter 260 is the zoning chapter, any law in chapter 260, the zoning revision committee, there are different laws that we felt we needed to work on. Telecommunications was one, protecting the water district water was another. So there are things that we're focused on. And so this committee specifically focused on the verbiage of the law, not setting fines.
So why does the town not have a discussion, but pass a law without the ZRC submitting that in the way you just proposed, the way you just described?
But because we submit changes to the law itself, the law says that the town can set the fees, and the town did. So the law for all the years this law has been in place, and I'm looking at it, May of 2019. So 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago, this law went in place, and it said every year the town will set fees. That's what the law says, and that's what the town did.
But doesn't the law also say that you need to have a public discussion before you can change those fees? And also, doesn't it also say that these fees need to be in proportion to the actual funds that are necessary to administer the program?
The law does not say that. The law does not.
State law does, I believe.
Notice.
Well, if you're certainly welcome to send me the state law that you think has that. So
or maybe one of the two law firms, that's like on the dime of the taxpayer. Sorry, but maybe that's where, I'm just saying it out loud, what everybody's already thinking in their minds and we're all talking about.
Okay, well, we're
I understand.
does anybody have a conversation
Somebody's got to
about,
say it.
well, does anybody have, Linda, you have your hand up. Do you want to say something, Linda?
Yeah, I just feel like I have to stand up for the task force, which I was a member of.
Yeah.
And when I saw this fee raise, I was kind of shocked because I thought that was going to come after you guys decided what the fee schedule was. And I've been getting a lot of flack from citizens asking me, hey, did you guys recommend this 450? And I was like, no, we gave you the fee schedules of all the towns surrounding us, and we gave you our recommendations. And I just felt like this was putting the cart before the horse. I just don't think it was a fair thing to do to people. And because I was a task force member and we all put a lot of effort into what we did, yes, there were some problems with the communications, but for the most part, we did our due diligence, and now you're going through it. But, why not just wait until you make the actual, fix the law, make the fee schedule, and then do something? I mean, I just don't understand why this happened, and it just seems very unfair to the people that are here for a very long time and really need to do this to keep their houses. I know I felt like there should be categories, and there should be a category for these people. Maybe they have to show their income or something, but again, you guys didn't finish the law. I mean, it just doesn't make sense that you would do this ahead of finishing your job. So I'm just saying, as a task force member, we did not make this recommendation for this, just so that people know, because people are saying to me, you guys did this. I know, and I said, no, we didn't.
Okay.
So
Well,
just,
appreciate the feedback. Appreciate the feedback.
So I gotta hop in here for a second and just remind everyone, we are not the town board. We didn't set the fee. We didn't recommend the fee. That did not come out of this board. And while I appreciate the passion about it, it's just not what we do here. So, I mean, if we want to keep talking about it, I mean, I gotta tell you, like, I want to work on the law. If we're going to be here, I'd like to work on what we came here to work on.
So what is
And
the, what's the-
Like
Right, can I just
necessarily
ask a
like
question?
redirect the conversation around that point. There is some accountability here and some sense of community, that we're all kind of upset with. So you can obviously say that because it makes your life easier. However, there are people who are actually struggling. Yeah.
I think I understand a lot of people are struggling in this world that we live in, but I mean, while I appreciate the passion for it, you would be better directed if your anger was towards, or at least at the public, be heard for the town board. We are here to make our recommendations. And to be honest, if you attended our very public, very outward facing meetings, which are all on YouTube, you can go back and look at every single one of these meetings on YouTube. You will see that we've had multiple people, multiple presenters from organizations and other interested groups.
I think most of us have actually been to that, which is why we're on this call.
I'm sorry?
I think most of us have been to those meetings or seen them online, which is why we're on this call.
So then, I mean, to me, then, if you've been on those calls, the number, even for $500, shouldn't be that surprising, because we've had numerous organizations come to us
It sounds like
and
epic
tell us that our fees were wildly disproportionately low. Now, I'm not saying I know that I would have landed on a $400 or $500 number, but
it's a made up
the
number,
idea that it's just
I mean, you invented
come
the
out of nowhere.
Hey, Mike, you need to stop because Connor is speaking. Interrupting is not polite.
And
Connor,
and
go ahead.
again, and again, to my point, like, we are here to do work. We are here to do meaningful work on a law that has been on the books for about 4 or 5. What was it? Went in on 2018.
5 years. Yeah, 19. When
So
it is May of 2019, 5 years almost.
and again, we've seen what happened. We've had more than just the input from this group, which we are taking input from everyone. We're quite transparent in how we act, and we're quite open to listening to the public. But I mean, for whatever it's worth, as another struggling citizen of this town with 4 jobs and a volunteer shift here and there, like, let's get on with the work. This is
So
why
Connor,
we're here.
So Connor, here's a pointed question. What's the justification for $150,000 STR budget?
This is
Didn't we
not,
start
this is
there?
not,
This is not the place. This is my
this
whole
is
point.
bizarro
We
world.
we do not make that decision.
So why are we here?
I don't
Sorry,
know.
Michael, I'm sorry. Can we, I think that I understand everyone's frustration and I think everyone feels this frustration, but this is a group that has come, the issue is that this is a fragmented process right now. And to point the finger at this team, at this group right now is not getting at the heart of the problem. I think that's really a town issue, or the town meetings where we could talk about the processes and how these things are divided. I think if people want to have thoughts about less around what is happening with the budgets, but more around what people think about the plans moving forward, I think that's the forum for this. If I could just stand up for 1 second and ask a question that is actually related to this,
Yes.
which is, I know that you talked about, I forgot the name of the consulting company that is going to be able to tell you more data about the STR.
Granicus.
Granicus, yeah. And I was just wondering, do you have a timeline of when you're going to get a sense of what the real numbers are for the STRs and what that looks like? Because I think that would be really helpful, I think, in being able to quell some of the questions that are coming up where there's a lot of assumptions being made across the board, I think. Do we have a sense from Granicus when that number,
Well, the quick answer is I don't have a time frame right now. I do know that our ZRC members have gotten information from the building department, and what I don't know is, did it come from Granicus? So I do know that we have been getting some numbers from the building department, but I don't know what their source was at the time. So I don't know when exactly we're going to see the Granicus. We may the building department might already have it, is my point.
It's not Granicus. Granicus is a small part of this. I think what I don't understand is how were these fees arrived at if you didn't know what the budget?
This is not the forum. We've said about 5 times so far.
I don't understand. This
This
is upside down.
Yes,
This is
well, you're
upside
screaming-
down. You know what?
Well, you're-
I'm
yeah,
sorry. This is.
Well, it's enough of this fee topic. The fee topic is really not what we're here for. Does anybody have anything to say that is not the fees? And Lori, I saw you raise your hand a little while ago.
Oh, you're on mute, Lori.
Yeah, she's looking.
Guys.
Hi, Lori.
Thank you. Thank you for the hard work. I just want to say this, the town of Woodstock has, in its own diligent way, had subcommittees to work on what was perceived of as the STR problem since about 2017. Ed Sanders, myself, Lorne, help me with Lorne's last name. He was on the
Lauren Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren Rose. Thank you. The other town board member.
Richard
Was it-
Houston.
Yeah, Richard.
Richard, sorry, yeah. No,
and
wrong.
Ed Sanders,
Richard
me.
Houston.
So we were the original task force committee.
Yeah,
and-
Hepner. Richard Hepner is the right Richard. Richard Houston is the judge. Hepner.
Right, thank you, thank you. I should have dinner and get my head clear. But anyway, it was a very solid group that worked for about 18 months, brought to the town board what became the law that was passed by the town, outlining the 300 and some STRs that were available or allowed, the the rules and regulations that the building department was supposed to monitor. The long and the short of it, during COVID, the town changed their mind about things. There was another STR committee, of which I was also on. And we did, after investigating towns around New York State and outside of the state, make a recommendation to the town board, and you would have gotten that, to definitely raise the rates, because the town of Woodstock rates were much lower than other communities. And if people, everybody has to pay for what they get. You want to have an STR, you want to rent your house, you want to have people in your house, you're going to be making money. It's fair to pay back to the town for the building inspector, for the work that's done, and for Granicus. And I must say that I know that the town has been receiving, through the county, which signed on to Granicus 4 or 5 years ago, reports that are shared with the Ulster County to the different towns. One of the things that the town does want, the town of Woodstock wants its own special relationship with Granicus to get some more minutia about the people that are doing STRs. But by and large, Woodstock are already receiving information from Granicus via the county.
So when would that be made public, or when can we see the raw data to be able to get a sense of like just some of the...
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure that it's maybe you have to foil it and go to the town offices. I mean, it's government property and it's paid for. That I don't know.
Yeah, I would say if you call up the town phone number is 845-679-2113, and extension 13 is the building department. They know what they've got from Granicus. They will be the ones receiving it from Granicus. They'll know what they've got from Granicus. So that would be that. So, and thank you, Lori, for weighing in. So this. Okay,
I got to ask, Laura, are we, at this point in the meeting, are we going to do any of the work we came here to do? I'm happy.
Yeah, really.
I'm getting ready to wrap it up because we don't have a quorum. Instead of you and I making decisions, we'd have to still review it with at least one other person. So I think that I'm about to wrap it up. I appreciate everybody being here. I understand the frustration. I hear the frustration. I appreciate Laurie weighing in with some more explanation for sure. And we need to work our way through it. And so we'll leave it at that. So our next meeting is going to be the second Monday of April at 6:30, and the Zoom is on the town website. And we'll hope we have a quorum because we want to make progress on the STR law. So
Laura, there's no, before you finish, I just want to say that the letters that went out require a reply by April 1. There won't be another meeting before then. So what happens if someone disagrees with that and they don't reply by April 1? You just yank their permit?
Well, that's a question for the building department. And what you would do is contact the building department and confirm how much they want. Because again, Anula's resolution, which said spread the payments over 4 quarters, Anula's resolution passed. And what you should do is you should contact the building department and ask what they expect from you in the first quarter. The other thing the supervisor said is that as the STR committee does come forth with a proposal, we may in fact recommend, we're looking at 4 types of STRs, 2 of them where the owner is present when the STR guests are there, and 2 types where the owner is not present. So of the 2 where the owner is present, it's very likely that we may recommend a tiered STR fee, where if you're renting out a room in your house that has no kitchen, you're just opening your front door and somebody's coming in and taking a room or 2 in your house, then it's very likely we'll recommend a lower annual rate for you, because the STR owners who do that are really part of our community for sure. So in any event, we may be recommending a tiered approach. It'll be the town board that decides it. So if Supervisor McKenna said on Tuesday, was he said that the other advantage of the tiered approach is in the event, it's not a guarantee, but the town board could consider doing some adjustment based on when the zoning revision committee gives recommendations and the law and this new tiered approach of the four types. The town board is not a guarantee, but by doing the tiered approach, by doing the phased approach with your payments quarterly, if the town board were to decide that there's an adjustment needed based on what the ZRC sends forward, then you wouldn't have paid all the money and we would work it out anyway. So in any event, my recommendation is you contact the building department and say, what do I owe you by in first quarter? Because this quarterly approach did get approved. Laurie's got her hand up again. Go ahead, Laurie.
Why did I go back to prior to STRs when people did bed and breakfasts? I mean, if somebody's living in their house and they're renting a room, why not just call that a bed and breakfast and let people, just make STRs the vacant homes that can be rented for no more than 6 months out of a year?
Well, I'll tell you, so there is
Sure.
a bed and breakfast definition in the current STR law, and it's still in the STR law that we're working on. And the other thing that I'll tell you that to make sure people are aware of is that a short-term rental is less than 30 days. If
Right.
you're able to rent your room for a whole month, or rent your ADU, or rent your unit, your dwelling unit, if you're able to rent it for a whole month, you don't need to comply with the STR law. You're still a
Right.
renter. You got to do other things. You're a long-term renter now. There's other laws about that. But the STR just deals with if you're less than 30 days. And
I understand.
And you might be able to get, some people who are STR owners may be able to get a long-term renter, long-term meaning 30 days or more. So that's another thing for people to consider.
So a B and B is 30 days or more?
No, a B and B is just a B and B. It's in
Yeah,
the
that's what I
zoning.
thought.
It's already in the code. And an STR, a short-term rental, is 30 days or less. Most short-term rentals are weekends or a week or maybe 2 weeks in the summer. That's what a short-term, it's 30 days or less. Anything over 30 days is a long-term rental.
Correct, and this law does not apply to that. I'm reading from the bed and breakfast establishment and bed and breakfast home. The difference it looks like here is if you're giving a one meal. So there is a definition for bed and breakfast, and both of the definitions, there's home, bed and breakfast home, which means you're renting at least one and not more than 2 rooms, and you're providing a one meal, which is breakfast. And
Coffee and a roll.
Laura, I do apologize, but I'm gonna sign off now.
Yeah, that's fine, Connor. That's fine.
I'd be happy if we're gonna, talk policy, but
I
it
would
seems
just-
like
I would
meeting
just
has
like
not
to
been
know-
called, so have a good one.
Yeah,
I
we
would
got
just,
it.
I
We
would
got
just
it.
like to know why some people, especially people on the bubble, are being obliged to support people in the community who are not STR owners, who are better off than the people who need STRs to pay their taxes and their expenses. You're subsidizing the general public. You're penalizing a few to subsidize the general public. And I don't think that's right.
You're at the wrong meeting to bring up that point because this meeting is dealing with zoning law itself.
I'm so
not the
confused
setting
about
of
what
fees.
this meeting is for and whether we're talking to zoning or building or the town board. It's like, I feel like I'm chasing my tail. And I don't think that the town should be encouraging that.
I would plus one that it's actually very confusing if this is law or like, is this a meeting about law or is it a meeting about, how we create a community? It's like very strange.
Well, it's because we don't have a quorum. If we had a quorum of the zoning revision committee, we would have been talking about the law and the zoning revision committee's proposed changes to the STR law. And we normally have public be heard at the end. But since we didn't have a quorum, it made sense to begin public be heard now. And the public all wants to talk about the fees, which is not what this committee does. And the committee's actually not here. So the committee's you're not seeing the work of the committee at this particular meeting because we have a 4-member committee, 3 is a quorum, and there are 2 of us here. So
But
that
you're
in
still
case,
saying that we need to be at a zoning board committee, we need to be at a town board committee, we need to talk to the building department for any information. That shouldn't be our job to run around, okay? This should be done in a public, cogent, fulsome manner, and it's not.
this is
People are
public.
being
This is,
penalized. People who can't afford this are being forced to subsidize those who don't need the money.
Okay, so this is a
I
public
don't care if
meeting.
that's
Things are being-
town, zoning, or whatever, that's an indomitable fact that you can't run away from.
Okay, so in any event, this meeting, the purpose of this committee is to talk about the zoning law itself. And I am about to end the meeting because we're all talking about fees and that's not the point of this meeting. So I
Right.
did give you advice that if you want to know what you owe by April 1st, call the building department. I even gave you the phone number. So if you want to know what you owe by April 1st, call the building department. If you want to talk about the fee structure, you can come to a town board meeting, talk about public be heard. This meeting is to talk about the words of the law and how might they be changed, the words of the law. So that's why I'm here. I'm closing it. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Lori,